All right, we've been reporting that 3 people have been taken in for questioning in connection with the killing of a German tourist. Now, Tourism Minister Lindiwe Sisulu has been briefing the media at the airport, and we've been following that. Let's go live and dip in right now and see what she's saying.
That had been ongoing was a planned hit on the woman, and the other death was an accident in Cape Town. There hasn't been in all the, how many years have we been in government?
Almost 30 years, Minister.
30 years?
27.
Oh, okay. In the 27 years that we've been in government, there have only been 3 deaths. Now, that is a record of safety, and that is a record that we would like to keep. And we want to attract our people, we want to attract tourists to South Africa. That is our job, and we assure them that South Africa is safe. And we ensure that they don't go to any places that we're not sure about, whose safety we're not sure about. So I can safely say, for tourists, we provide maximum security because they are an industry that we have. We are an industry that belongs to my responsibility, and I have taken every measure I can to ensure that they are safe when they are here, and we assure them of their safety. I don't know if there were any other questions, or if you...
If I may just... Okay. About whether or not in the last 48 hours we've seen, German tourists pulling out from their planned trips, and as we are now in the peak of the season.
No, there hasn't been anybody who's pulled out of their trips. And the reason why we wanted to have a press conference is to assure everybody, tourists and all, that we are on top of the situation, that any tourist who's in our country is safe, and we would like them to be safe. And we are looking into most of our hotels to make sure they increase the safety of our tourists. But beyond today and yesterday's shock, we haven't had this at all. Yeah, that's it.
Let's open the floor now for the next round of questions.
Thank you. Dale Hess from Tourism Update. Minister Sisulu, there has been a task force set up in that particular Numbi Gate Road. It's been there since last year, and the Deputy Minister was also in that area last month speaking about tourism safety. And one of the key aspects he mentioned was engagements with communities. So I would like to know what specific programs can you point to that are engaging communities in tourism efforts around Kruger, and specifically what increased emphasis is going to be placed on that.
Okay. Thank you. I saw some hand up there. Okay, you go.
Hi, Minister. It's Alpha here from Eyewitness News. I think I heard you mention that you indicate to tourists that they can visit a certain place or not visit another place because of safety concerns. I want a little bit of clarity. What are some of these places that you don't advise tourists to visit because of safety concerns?
Got a follow-up.
Yes, follow-up. I just wanted to ask Jürgen again just a follow-up question as to whether the door was locked or unlocked. We just want to make sure that we get quite correct in the reporting.
It's important.
And then just maybe to the ambassador, does this mean now that this incident has happened, or occurred rather, will Germany's travel advisory to your travelers change now? What does this entail as this accident has now happened?
Yeah, again.
Okay. After a very long day, there would be a propensity to misspeak. Let me say this. According to the parties, they travelled all along with central locking on, all the way in the way they indicated, and as they were barricaded by this car that passed them and stopped them, they put the car into a rear gear. The driver did, and he unlocked. Whether it's the total central locking or not is not clear, but he unlocked his door, and as he did that, the shot rang out. And and then he's not immediately slumped, but he slumped to the side shortly thereafter to the left. But his foot was left on the accelerator and the gear was in reverse gear, and when the death kicked in, the accelerator was pressed down by the dead foot and accelerated 100 meters in reverse gear until it swerved off the road into the boundary wall.
Thank you very much.
And as to local authorities or local communities, if I can just add, they believe that the fact that the local community came out and had a look, it caused the guys to flee and therefore prevent whatever these armed men had in mind. And they believed, the family believed, that they were committed to continuing whatever they had in mind. They didn't take any escapism of any kind.
Minister?
Me, okay. Is it the same question, or should I go on to the other question from Dale about the Numbi Gate Road? Yes, as I indicated, the Numbi Gate Road we have now discovered is something that we should have been dealing with solving for some time. The DM did indeed go to the Numbi Gate because it had been indicated that this is an area of people who are discontented with land arrangements and therefore are very likely to take advantage of anybody that they think is vulnerable. And you wanted to find out what have we done, what efforts are in place to increase the safety of our tourists there. We have the acting DG here, Madidonki, and I don't know if you would like to take that question and respond to what we've put in place since we discovered that this is an area that needs particular attention.
Yes, Minister. Thank you. In terms of the
Steve?
approach that was
Exercise.
Thank you. From Tourism Update, you would have noticed that it was not only government that was at the Numbi Gate. It was an integrated, multidisciplinary approach that we have taken together with our private sector, including other spheres of government. The province was there, the local municipality was there, members of the community were there, including our partners, SAPS. And really the message was to drive home the benefits of tourism to the communities. Just to share some light in terms of putting it out there that if we as citizens, as communities, we take care of tourism, tourism will benefit all of us. And again, the approach was also for the private sector to try and include. Minister has alluded to the fact that there are nuances around that area. Private sector was acquainting itself with how best they can be able to rope in those communities into the mainstream of the management of tourism, so that they can be able to benefit as well. But we're also sharing information about the impact of crime on government's objectives, which is really leaning towards improving the situation of those that are disadvantaged and vulnerable. That was the approach that we had taken. There is an action plan that was developed, and all of us as parties involved in the tourism sector, each has got their own responsibility, but we will be able to deal with the issues that are around that area. Thank you.
Thank you, DG. So if you could help me move the mics, the second is directed to Ambassador, as to whether Ambassador, ever since this incident happened, your country alert level.
what I can say is that we update our travel advices regularly. I think they are there for all of our visitors and all of you to read, actually. So I think we took an update of the situation. We haven't changed the security alert level, but of course we have to report back on what has happened. And actually, it will not be first from our travel advice, but from the German media. The story has broken or was reported in Germany. But I think what I need to add is that, of course, we are also reporting back on the reaction by South Africa and by the South African government, which is an important part of the wider story. Because I think it's actually not so usual that the competent minister and her team spent so much time dealing with the family, with trying to solve the case, trying to clarify the issue. I would say, from our point, I've worked at a number of postings also in other countries, that the responsibility taken by the government in this particular case is quite exemplary. And I think it is also in a way assuring possible visitors or visitors who are in the country that the government is really taking responsibility for the safety and security of visitors, which is quite important for South Africa as a tourism destination. The issue has been reported widely in the German media, but I'm sure also that the responsible reaction and the helpfulness on the part of the authorities are part of this story. And maybe coming back to the question of cancellations, the minister has already responded to it. What I can add is that, in fact, number of bookings went up sharply before that, and actually everybody was looking to, after 2 missed seasons of tourism because of the pandemic, everybody was looking forward and is looking forward to the coming holiday season. And I think with the view to this, I think the reaction by this country, by the government, taking measures to ensure the safety and security of visitors are actually quite important. And that's why I would say we are grateful really for the action taken by the government and also the support we got.
All right, that was the German ambassador to South Africa, Andreas Peschke, lauding government for taking very seriously the murder of a German tourist, saying that the moves were exemplary. But of course, it has hit the media in Germany. The tourism minister, Lindiwe Sisulu, saying earlier that people were not cancelling their bookings, and government was really moving to try and ensure that that didn't happen, and to ensure tourists the world over that they are safe in South Africa. She also spoke about the Numbi Gate, saying that this has been a problem for a while, should have been taken care of. And of course, it was on the Numbi Road that gun people opened fire on this car, apparently after they didn't open the doors. The driver killed, saying that people there are concerned about land arrangements, so there are people with grievances who may then use that opportunity, target people coming in. So we'll follow what is done about that.